individuals. All right, so you guys give them your undivided attention, listen, learn, all right, and then thank him afterwards. I'm good?
Sir. Appreciate it. Coach, how much time?
We have these guys until 1 o'clock, but we're gonna watch a little film. But we've already watched.
Yeah, today's a little early.
Good, bro.
You let me know if you need me to wrap it up.
No, you're good. You talk to them as long as you like.
Good afternoon, fellas. Drove down last night with my family. I heard there was a game tonight, so brought my cap, brought my family, and some cold weather be coming in soon, so you can thank me for that. My name's Miguel Saldivar. When I was growing up, they called me Mikey, and played varsity ball here 96, 97, 98, graduated in 99. You know, it was seventh grade through freshman ball before that, and then flag before that. So growing up, it was all Alice Coyote football. I have notes. I forget a lot of things. But like I said, I played 96 through 98. 96 was a good year. Actually, I got to play with Mark that year. He was a freshman. I was a sophomore. Went a few games deep into the playoffs. Had a great set of seniors to lead us. Junior was a little disappointing, and then senior year, you know, it's just something that happens in your senior year. I don't know how many seniors we have here, but it becomes a little bit more important because time's running out. You're up against the clock, and this is, for the majority of all athletes, this is the biggest stage and the most camaraderie, the most fun you'll get to have in a competitive environment. After this, you're competing to get into college. That's not as exciting on the same level. After that, you're competing in the workforce. It's exciting to get a job, but it's not that same level of camaraderie unless you're going into the military, fire department, you know, or a police officer. You don't have that same level of camaraderie. And I'm telling you that because I'm almost 40 years old with a dad bod, and I've lived a little bit. The difference between being a sophomore and a senior, I had a great freshman year coming in to be a sophomore. You know, I put in all the hours of 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and I knew that I was going to be a backup to a guy who was a 3-year starter, Ryan Farrell. So I was talking about, you know, I'm doing all the two-a-days, I'm doing all the August practices, I'm putting in film time and weight room, and I'm not going to get to play. This is like a part-time job. Sometimes it feels like a full-time job. I think I'm just going to let it go. And Ryan Farrell came up to me, he's like, dude, before you realize it, it's all going to be over. You're going to be halfway through your senior year, looking at the end of your football playing days. He's like, you got to stay. So I stuck it out. Senior year was amazing. We went all the way to the semifinals, and we were one play from making it to the finals that year. So if I have regrets about my days playing football, I'd say the earlier years, I wish I'd have paid more attention in the weight room, done more weightlifting, paid better attention to my body. So you underclassmen, I want you to take this in. Eat as much as you can. You put on the weight, you put on the muscle, you take care of your body. I wish I'd have done that. I wish that I'd left everything, every game, every practice on the field. Because you don't get to do that again. You get to play indoor soccer, you get to do jiu-jitsu, you get to do whatever after, and it's more as a hobby. This is an experience, right? And my last regret would be the play. So let me take you back to 1998. It was December. We're playing in the Astrodome against the Houston team, Bay City, and the score is 13-3 coming out of the half. We receive the ball. We drive all the way down to their 30-yard line. Joe Escobar comes in with a play. It's 28 area. Boom, fake the dive. We're running right, option right. He pitches the ball. I gain about 7 yards. Start, stop, start. A couple guys run by me. I get about 11 yards. That's one of the bigger running plays of the game. When you get to that level, it's inch by inch you're fighting. Very next play, Joe comes back to the huddle and he says, pro right, 28 area. I'm like, all right, let's do it again. This was the play. Option right, Defensive end, slow playing Joe. Joe commits, pitches the ball, hits me just above the shoulder pads in the hands, and the pitch that I caught 1,000 times from 7th grade running back to then, it hit the ground. Bounced straight up, defensive back takes it all the way to the house, and the score is 20-3. I roll off to the sideline, and my head hanging down. It's a terrible feeling. We had maybe 5,000 people from Alice and another 2,000 or 3,000 from surrounding towns that went all the way to the Astrodome to watch us play. I'm fighting back tears on the sideline, right? And we go out for kickoff return. I'm still on the sideline. Keith Vega gets the kickoff return, and he runs it all the way down to the 9-yard line, and our whole side of the stadium erupts, and it's just like this hollow humming, like you can't hear anything outside of it because it's so loud. And I still have my head hanging down. Coach Tanner, he was our offensive line coach at the time. He runs by me, sees my head hanging down. He's jumping up and down. He grabs me by the shoulder pads and he says, "Pick your head up! You're not done yet!" We run back out there. 3 plays later, we score. John Lynn catches a pass. Score at that point was 20-10. We kick off. Our defense holds them. We get the ball back in about 6 plays later. It was a couple screen passes, a slant to Mark, and a pass to Keith, and we scored again. It was 20-17. There were about 2 minutes left in the state semifinal game. And offensive side was on the sideline watching our defense fight like hell to keep them, or to get them off the field to give us one more chance. We lost, and I had to come to grips with the fact that I was a part of that. I had to accept that we lost not because we gave up. It's just as much because we ran out of time, because if he had given us another 2 minutes after that, I have no doubt in my mind we could have made it happen. Coach, how we doing?
You're good. Keep rolling.
So, my intent, or Johnny and Javier had asked me to come talk, and I'm not here only to talk to you about football. I just wanted to give you some of my experience, and maybe you can carry that with you. But I want to talk to you about tradition here in Alice and the atmosphere that you get. And like Coach said before I came up, there is no other school or town in the state that gets what you guys have here. I promise you that. I've seen state title teams from South Lake, Allen. I lived in the Dallas area for 20 years. Cedar Hill, Marcus, Louisville. I've seen them all. And there's a ton of talent. Okay, those are the guys that are playing on Saturdays. Those are the guys that sometimes get to play on Sundays. But they don't have what we have here. My daughter went to school up there, and she says the same thing. Alice is just different. So I need you to embrace that. Recognize how amazing it is, how electric it is to be here on a Friday night with the lights on in the cold weather in October and all the fans going nuts. Because they've been going nuts since I was 4 years old. And long before that, I remember my dad picking me up in the stands just to see the play that I didn't understand. And I knew then it was all about Coyote football. And the tradition. Actually, let me tell you a story about fans. Before we played Bay City, we played at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. We played against Belton. It's a team just north of Austin. And we were in the locker room prepping for the game, and there were thousands of Alice fans outside the stadium because they hadn't opened the stadium up. And there were Alice fans painted in orange and white, climbing the flagpoles with flags in their hands. And there were other games that are going to happen that day. So there were other teams waiting outside. There were other fans from other cities waiting outside. And they see these guys in orange and white waving Coyote flags at the top of the flagpole. That's crazy. And that's what you guys get to play in front of every other Friday. And you get to play here tonight. I'm so excited to be home to watch you. The tradition side, you get your pep rallies. You get your lighting of the A And one of the most important things that I took with me from 3 years of being able to sit in front of Coach Watley, take a knee in front of Coach Watley, was the pregame prayer. And then we'd all stand up, right? Watley would give us the chat, he'd say the prayer, we'd all stand up, we'd line up, and there'd be that sign right outside the door. First guy up would tap it, pop, pop. Next guy, pop, pop. So for about 2 minutes, everybody's walking out the door, and you hear it over and over and over, and everybody's committed to this sign. Everybody's committed to this idea that they're going to go perform for 48 minutes. It said 48 minutes to play and a lifetime to remember. Sophomore through senior year, to me, it was a cool saying. 48 minutes to remember was easy to understand, right? You've prepped from 7th grade on, Pee Wee football on, and now you've prepped for the week, and you're in game mode. So you're walking out there with your teammates for 48 minutes to play. Now, the hard thing to understand, or the thing that didn't make sense to me until recently, was the lifetime to remember. As a senior, at 17 years old, I kind of saw it as memories you build so that, 5-10 years later, you could watch the highlight film and get all excited and maybe, have some drinks with your buddies on a Saturday and talk about the glory days. I'm going to take you back to August of 2018 when a lifetime to remember took a whole different meaning. I was on the road with my family. We were going up to Oklahoma to go stay at a cabin by a lake for a few days. My wife and I are talking, we're laughing. Got a little tense in my neck, so I popped my neck. A couple minutes later, the right side of my body goes hot. Sounds started to get sharper. Light started to be more piercing in my eyes. I was closing my eyes, I couldn't concentrate. Started to lose feeling on my right side. 5 days later, I had a full-blown stroke. I had torn an artery in my neck when I popped my neck. And my body clotted over the tear. 5 days later, that clot broke loose, capped one of the arteries going into my brain. I lost all feeling from my right ear, right side of my tongue, straight down to my belly button, everything on my right side, even my right butt cheek, couldn't feel it. My dad, who's standing here, and my wife rushed me to the hospital, and I'm trying to position myself out of the van. Neither one of my legs is working. My right side's not working. My eyes drooping. That hospital was too small to handle me, so they transferred me to a hospital in Plano. They put me on blood thinners, they put me on pain meds. They take me down to the ICU because I can't control my breathing, and there's something that happened to one of the nerves that controls my breathing, so there's a constant state of these extreme hiccups. It sounds ridiculous, but it was like constantly. I couldn't catch my breath, I couldn't get out words, and when I could get out words, I remember asking the doctors and the nurses, "Are you going to let me die? Am I going to die?" And their answers were, "We're going to do everything we can and I'll let you die." Doc, am I going to die? It's not up to me. A couple days later, am I going to be able to walk again? We'll know in a few weeks. Am I going to be able to chase my kids, dance with my wife, fish, play guitar? Am I going to be able to live? We'll know in a few weeks. So 9 days later, I was transferred out of the ICU. 3 days after that, so a total of about 12 days, I was moved over to a rehabilitation hospital, an inpatient hospital where they could work with me and try to get me moving again. I don't remember my first day there, but I remember waking up one morning and they had put me into the wheelchair, wheeled me over to breakfast, and I didn't want to be with all the other patients at breakfast. I was 37 years old, and I was incapable of cleaning myself, incapable of showering, incapable of feeding myself. And I knew I had to make a choice. And the choice I made was to get up every morning and be better. whatever that meant, just a little bit better. And every morning I was going to wake up and be positive about 3 things. And the first day, I remember I was hopped up on all these narcotics and all these painkillers and blood thinners. I was in a daze. The best things I could come up with were I didn't die last night. I didn't have another stroke last night. And the Russians didn't invade America. So we're good. And that was what I went on the first day. And I thought, how am I going to get this broken body to do what I used to do? To be anything like what I was before. So I searched everything inside of me, every memory I could come up with. And as crazy as it may sound, it brought me back to Alice, Texas. The pregame prayer, that just kept playing in my head. Pray not to win, but God willing we shall. Pray that you can give 100% of your bodies, that no one on either team is hurt or injured. Thank God that He's allowed you to play for the Alice Coyotes. I thank God He's allowed me to coach you. Good luck. I love you. Let's go get us a Wildcat. I don't know why that kept playing, but it's what I heard every week for 3 years from Coach Watley. I remember Coach Tedder coming back with my head hanging down, getting me by the shoulder pads and saying, "Get your head up! You're not done yet!" And that's what I had to keep hitting. That's what I had to keep remembering. I had to remember all the grind of the 2-a-days. Every time I had to slap my buddy on his ass and say, get in gear. Get in gear, we gotta get going. That's what a lifetime to remember meant. And it all came from here. It came from coaches being in my ear. It came from understanding that repetition after repetition after repetition, day after day after day is going to get you just a little bit better. And during rehab, that's what I had to learn. It's just repetition after repetition after repetition. I can almost read my own handwriting again. So coaches, what I'm going to ask you is tonight and every game going forward, if one of these guys is hanging their heads, you be Coach Tedder, because one day, one of you, either you or the guy sitting next to you is going to go through something, life's going to punch you in the nuts. And they got to have a voice to remember. Maybe it's one of you guys talking to the other one. Maybe it's a coach talking to the guys. Whatever it is, you be that for each other. Every day you wake up and you prepare to be better. Okay? That's all I have, but thank you for the time.
Tons of bell ring.
You guys do?